Hello, welcome to this video. We'll be looking at how to make reusable components in React. So we'll just get started. We'll build out a search page at the end of this tutorial, and in the next tutorial we'll cover how to actually make a front-end search in React. So if you follow through, there's a lot for you to learn. So this is a basic React boilerplate which I have created, and this is development server running. So what we want to create is a bunch of search boxes or input boxes, and a result, then maybe two headings basically, and the input should have labels. That's just it. That's just what we are looking out for. So let's clear all of this out and clear these two. Okay, so inside of here, let's just put a main like this, main like so, and this is where everything every of our code will live. So that is it. Now we have a blank page. So let's jump right in and start creating the components. Now remember that we are creating reusable components. So what are reusable components? Reusable components are those components that we could use multiple times with different data basically. That's just it. It's not just something you just paste there, So instead of pasting the same kind of code over and over again, so you could just create a component and then you reuse it and then pass in the data that you need. Basically, that's just it. All right. So the first thing we want to create is let's start by creating headings. So we need two headings. One at the top, maybe just saying that this is search form, and then the second one saying this search result. So let's create the heading like so. Heading dot JSX. Okay, so heading.jsx, now inside of this heading.jsx, we just want to do maybe h1 or h2 tag, and we'll be good with that. So I'm using this shortcut. It's just for creating shortcuts or code, boilerplate code for React. So RFC gives you a React functional component. So you can check that out. You just install the extension and you should be good. So you can get rid of this React import at the top. We just want to take this to a H1. No, H2 should be better. So H2. And then inside of here, we're supposed to put in the actual heading or the component or the title. So this could be anything. Just make sure you're referencing it. Right. So I could just say this is label. And then for me to import it, I just need to come at the top here, open and close curly brace, and then paste in the label there. Now I'm getting this error here because I have not declared prop types, but we are not doing anything prop types here. So we could just disable prop types for the file, and the error should be gone. That's a tutorial for another video. So let's save this. And now to make sure that this is working, let's come back to our app.jsx file and then see heading. So let's import this heading. So I'm also using a shortcut for the import, but basically all you need to do is import the heading from where you created it. I noticed that I created it inside of our components folder, and then let's close stuff like so. And now inside of it, if you save it, you're not going to see anything because of course you've not passed in the components, that is the label, sorry. So let's put in the label, and then what's the label supposed to be? Let's say search form, like so. Save it, and notice that search form comes out here. Now what is giving the whole styling that we're seeing here is the styling inside of the index.csx file. So we need to get rid of this styling. So just from this A part down to the end, you can just get rid of all of them like so and save them. So once you save them, you see that everything is back to normal. We're keeping the dark theme and every other thing inside of the root, so that should work for now. What else do we want to do? So that works for now. Now we need a second heading, and this is where you see the beauty of using a reusable component. Now instead of writing h1 multiple times, I could just create a second heading like so. C, Ctrl C, Ctrl D, and do search results instead of the search form. Save it, and you see that automatically you have search results here. Now this will even make more sense when you are handling huge components and you just have minimal changes to make. So imagine where you have to make changes of color for 7 similar things, and all you need to be changing is the colors. So you just have to create one component and keep changing the data that you need for the rest. But let's keep building. We want to create another reusable component, which is the input. All right. So let's get back to our components here, and inside of here, we want to create input.gsx. Now, inside of the input.gsx, make sure that the input here is capital letter, and then we get rid of the React import at the top. We don't need it. And inside of here, let's just do inputs, and we're doing the text or whatever you choose anyway. We're doing the same thing. So just input. Where all these things are going to be say reusable. So let's put in the name, the value, the placeholder, maybe the ID, like that. So inside of here, anyway, everything here is going to change. Now recall that you need to pass in the props that will make it a reusable component. All right. So inside of here, we're structuring. We want the type, we want the name, we want the value, we want the placeholder, and then we want the ID, like so. All right, now let's pass down each of these things. So we want the type, we want the name, we want the value, we want placeholder, and we want the ID. Like so. Let me make sure I format this properly. Now we're still having the same problem where it's requesting us to set up a props type, but now we're not doing that in this tutorial, so we'll just disable it for that line or for the file, anyone that works. So once we save this, we can now come all right, let's just create a new component here that would be for form. So let's create a form component, .gsx. Do we really need that? Do we really need that? All right, for the purpose of the tutorial, we don't need that. Let's just set up everything inside of this file so that it's not so complex. All right. So we need two inputs. So inputs, make sure you're importing the right input. So we're importing this input that we just created, and we said we need two of them. So we Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste. Now, once you save this, you have two input boxes. All right. Now they are looking very similar. We can start making them different. So for example, for this one you have a type of text. Make sure this is in quotation marks, and for this one you have a type of number, like so. Save them, and we could use number, or we could use tel here, like telephone, something like that. So basically we need something that gives us number. There is so many types for input, so you could just search so that you know what's best for your need. So when we search for this, sorry, let's clear this off. When we search for this, you have so many types. For example, if you change this to color, you'll be able to pick colors. I believe you should already know this, and this is it. So I just want to show you different input types that you could have. MDN docs here. So it's as it's opening up, we'll add a label to these input items or input boxes here so that we know what this label are for. So let's come back here and then let's add label. So label, like so. Now we're having all these errors here because we did not set a parent not a component, a parent tag kind of for this. So we need a closing tag that closes everything. It needs like a parent element, and that's the error we're getting here. JSX expression must have one parent element. All right, so the easiest way to do this is to add what we call fragment. So JSX fragment, and that is just an empty parent tag. or empty parent element like you see at the top and bottom here. So once you set that up, you should be good to go. So here we have the types. So this type of email, I'm looking for where we have a list of this type of search. For the phone number, I have type of tel. So once you have the tel like this, you should have all these numbers, URL, numeric field, type of number, like that, just everything you need, and many other things. I believe this outside the scope of this tutorial, but I just wanted to make sure you know about it. Now, inside of here, we could add a label. Now, instead of adding the label, we could just use what we already have. So, for example, the name would always be different. So, we could just add name here. And same thing here, put in name. We should be good with that. So, this will just populate itself. So, let's save that. And let's come back here. And let's go back to what we're doing here. Return this to number. And save it. All right. So, now that we save it, we could add placeholder saying something like enter name, while for the second one we change it to enter year. Of course, we know year is usually number. Save it. I notice that the placeholders are now different. We could also add the name, and we say name is name, like so. And for this second one, name is year, like so. All right, save it. Okay. If we want to bring this down, we could do it in different ways. But the shortest way people will do it is just give a break like this, a BR, and you should be fine. We're not focused on aesthetics for this tutorial, so this should pass the test. All right. So we save that, and then we can now create another component that we want to reuse, and that's a button component. Now, for the purpose of this search, we will need to let's get rid of this BR and put everything back on the same line. Okay. So for the purpose of this search file or search document we are creating, we're going to be needing two buttons. So let's create a reusable button. As soon as we know we need to use something more than once, it's best to create a component that is to be reused for it. So we'll create it and say this is going to be button component. So we'll just use btn for short .jsx, like so. All right, like so, and we'll just make sure that this is capital letter. All right, and get rid of this line. And then for here, we're creating a button. So button component. Okay. I'll make sure that it's of the type of submit. It is very important that we make it of type of submit, especially if you're using it with a form. However, on click will do your work still, but let's just make sure it is of a type of submit since it's a button. And then we want to create more like a label for it, or a name. So here we'll have a label, and then we'll have a function that it's going to call. So here we have a label, and then we have handle click function, something like that. Let's make sure this is fine and clean. Okay, so now on click, we want to call this function. That is the handle click function. All right. Now for this, if you are setting it up like a function like this, you have to call the function, or you could just pass it in like this, and then you make sure that when you are passing in the function, you do the call. That's just it. And then for the label here, we pass in the label here. All right. So once we have this, make sure we disable this as usual. As soon as we do this, we should be good to go. All right. Now we're back here, and this is where we want to actually break our code, like so. And then let's call the btn component. We need two of them like this. Now, as soon as you call it, notice that I'll have them showing up here. But the way they would actually be differentiated will be through the label. So the label of the first one is search. But we are doing the first search to be OR. And for the second search, it is going to be search and. Now the purpose of each of these buttons is, for the first one, is going to search a bunch of data that will be passed in, and check if either of these search terms passed into the input matches any of the data. But for the second one, we are going to be checking if the search term for both of them matches a particular data. As we build this in the next tutorial, you get to understand. But for now, we're just building out the search result, all right? And so as soon as we save, we see that they have been created, and this is the search or and the search and, all right? So now all that is clear, and we are okay with what we have. Okay, now we now want to build out for the search results. All right, so for the search results, we just need to call in a bunch of we just want to call a bunch of lists. All right, so we just need a name and the year, name and the year. So what we'll be working with is going to be a name of or an author and a year, or name of a book and a year, stuff like that. So all we need is a name and a year. That's just it basically. So we need to create another component. You see why reusable components are really nice. So under component, and we are saying, let's just call it result.tsx. So what do we want this to look like? So for this result, it's going to be a bunch of texts. All right, so we'll just do a p tag. All right, now inside of the p tag we'll have a span. Now here we'll have the name, so it could be the name of the book, and the second one will have the year, like that. And then let's pass in everything, name and year, like so. So as soon as we have this, then we are good to go. So what we could also add here would be, we could just add, let's just add something like, let's put this inside of brackets, right? And then this should work. Let's add a little space here and save. So as soon as we save, we come back here. All right, now we want to call that particular component a bunch of times. So we'll just go and fetch a bunch of data that we have used in our previous tutorial, and here's the data. We'll just so I'll just copy the file here, copy it, and then let me close it off. All right, and I'll just come and paste it here inside of the assets. So let's paste it like so. Okay, great. And I'll just change the name of what we have here to, okay, this is fine, top 100 film. So this is just the name of the film and the year they were released. So this should work perfectly for us. All right. So we'll just import its top 100 films. That automatically imports it for us. And now below here, we want to look through these movies. Let's take this away from here. We want to look through these movies. So .map, and then film, like so. Let's just close this up, and then we now want to call that component using each of these details that we already have. All right. So what we could also do here is just to destructure what we got back. So we have the label and we have the year, of course. So inside of here, we just call the component result. And then we'll now add, we want to add each of those, what's the name? Each of those props. Good. So the label, we'll call the label. The year, we'll call the year. Now there's something you must do when you are repeating data like this, and that is to put in a key attribute. So for the key, we need something really unique. Some people will just add an index, so just add a comma here and put in an index. But for best practices, this is not the best way. So as soon as we copy this index and put in here, it's going to work, and you notice that there's no more error. But the problem with this is that whenever our component um, refreshes, this will have to rebuild all over, which is against the rule, against what React stands for. So we want to be able to re-render only parts of our component that have changed, all right, not the parts that have not changed. So for us to do this, we need to make sure that each item is unique. So how do we make sure that each item is unique? We need to look for something really unique. So something that we could do to just help us is to add in the label here. And so instead of generating a new key, and we could even add in the year to make sure that it is very, very unique. So as soon as we set this up and save, you notice that we have not sure why this is like this, but we are having only the years. So let's check what we are getting from our data here. There is a label, and then there is the year. So let's go back. I think we didn't pass the right. Yeah, this is supposed to be name, not label. All right. So let's get back to our app. Right here, we'll just change this to name and save it, and then everything changes. Do you see? So we'll have all the names like it should be. All right. That is awesome. So just to make sure that this is contained in somewhere that we can easily see, let's just create this is going to be like a section, right? And we'll push this inside of it. We'll push in some style. We want to make some styling so that we'll give this a definite height, and that's just it. So we'll put in style like so, and then we want to give it a definite height of like say 300 should be fine. If 300 and then we make it overflow to scroll. So save that, and then we now have our height of 300. So we could change this to 500 and save it so that it gets a bit longer, but it's going to stay within this height. So I think 400 should be better. 400, and then we have what we really need. So both up and down like so. Great. So here is the search results, and on top of here we have our search form, and this is how to use reusable components or make use of reusable components in React. I'll make sure to add this on GitHub and add it to the description. In the next tutorial, I'll be implementing this search proper, and you see how we can really manipulate search on the front end in the best way possible. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next tutorial.